My name is Dana James, and I am your host. I'm also the founder and publisher of Black Iowa News. And I have great news. Black Iowa News can now accept tax deductible donations. And if you want to donate, find out how. So today I have with me a guest, RJ Miller. He is the executive director of Greater Opportunities, an organization that does a lot of work here in Des Moines. So welcome, RJ.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Tell us a little bit about what is Greater Opportunities and why are you engaged in this type of work?
Okay, so Greater Opportunities was a community action agency back in the 60s. It came under the act of Lyndon B. Johnson, where there was a War on Poverty Act. So he gave federal funding to these community action agencies for them to be able to provide rental assistance, startup programs for students. They're called Head Starts. They did different stuff with job training. So essentially provide resources to be able to help low-income residents.
Okay.
And my grandmother was the executive director of Greater Opportunities. She was the last one, and I chose to carry on that legacy. So that's why it's important to me. And the work we do is we carry it on, essentially the same. We work against poverty. We understand that poverty produces crime. So we try to fight for as many resources as we possibly can for students, but also for families. Because if we have broken families, we understand we're going to have broken students or broken youth.
What is the most rewarding part about this type of work?
Seeing the impact. Seeing the impact is very rewarding when you're able to see a student say that is something you said or something that you did to help majorly impact their life or to help them go into a good direction. Like specifically with our youth town halls, me seeing students that were soft-spoken, not really able to find their voice yet, not comfortable speaking around others, but seeing them publicly speak on a platform in front of legislators, community stakeholders, educators, and other students to essentially advocate for their peers. And to not only advocate for their peers, but be able to take that same advocacy and take it into the classroom and find their voice and help other youth find their voices as well. So that's been very rewarding. The leadership development, the conflict resolution, and overall just fighting for students to be successful.
So this was your fifth town hall you had a few weeks ago, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How did that compare to the first couple of town halls?
I think this one was the most impactful. We had a lower turnout than we normally do. However, I really think it was really heartfelt what the students were saying. The performances were beautiful, just exposing the creativity of the students, the youth. I just thought that was awesome. The youth were very intelligent. They understood the issues. They're hungry for change. They want to see change within their schools, and they want to see change within the community. And I think we need to do what we got to do to support them.
Can you talk about the one student who she has started a Black Student Union at Lincoln? Tell me about her and why Lincoln needed a Black Student Union.
Yeah, so Tia she's an all-star, like really, she really is. Like she keeps getting award after award after award. She got one from us too, by the way. Shout outs to Tia. She's on the dance team, doing good with that. She's just involved with so many different things. She understood the value and creating a space for Black students to be able to express their culture positively so, because oftentimes when we're in the education space, students and staff members are told to be inclusive, which I think people have a bad perception on what it is to be inclusive. When we think of inclusive to us means I am able to celebrate my culture. At the same time, I'm able to respect you and let you celebrate yours. So we understood this, and Tia decided to create the Black Student Union at Lincoln, so to give other students that space to be able to express their Blackness as it was culturally relevant to them.
Interesting. So do you think that we need more Black student unions?
Absolutely. We need them through K through 12, and we need them in the colleges. Like I absolutely think that they're necessary because the Black experience should be celebrated. And it should be respected because it's beautiful. And I feel like we don't spend enough time doing that. I feel like a lot of times now, again, with this inclusive stuff, it becomes an eraser. It becomes a dissolving of one's culture. And it's essentially you're assimilating into a so-called predominant culture. And I just think that's dissatisfaction. Every student should be able to express their culture.
So talk a little bit about what is it like for your Greater Opportunities is a nonprofit, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it like for your nonprofit to work within the framework of a school district?
Well, it's been challenging in our inner city school district. It's been very challenging because we have data. I'm a very data driven person. Our organization is a very data driven organization, and ultimately, we want to be able to take the data and we want to be able to serve the underserved. We want to be able to support our most high need students, and oftentimes, you know, we are essentially told not to. Like when we look at the data is suggesting that our black males are the most high need students. And then right up under that is our black females. And when we try to create systems to try to support and uplift them, we get backlash and say, well, what about all students? And, my thing is this: I support all students. Anybody that knows me knows when I walk in the classroom, I support everybody, regardless of what culture, what background you come from. But at the end of the day, we cannot push the narrative that we're for all students, because if we're for all students, then why are our black students not doing well? Why are they doing worse than every other ethnicity within that school structure? So there's a problem. All students can't matter until black students matter.
So let's talk about the Black students. What specific needs do you think that Black students have that aren't being met?
So number one, I don't think a lot of these individuals within the school inner city school district is culturally responsive to our students. I believe that a lot of these individuals, not all, but a lot, they do not live within our school district. They live in the suburbs or they live in a rural area, and they don't understand the lived experiences of black students. And I think that they come with their own perceived biases on who they think these students are. So if they see these students dressed a certain way, it'll click in their mind, oh, okay, I seen this movie. So this student has to be in a gang or sell drugs, or this young lady is probably going to become pregnant and be a teen mother, or she's like this, or she's like that, or she's ghetto. So they come with these perceptions, and and then the interaction between them and the students isn't a good interaction. Students aren't stupid. They understand when somebody is caring about them, celebrating them, and welcoming them versus a person that's showing up and trying to get a check, or treating them like a student versus a human being as an individual. When I talk to students tell me, I want to be treated as a person. Yes, I'm a student, but I'm a human being first. I have my own lived experiences and personal stuff that I'm carrying with me before I even come into this building. You don't know my story. My stomach is touching my back. We're in poverty. I might be sleeping in my mom's car, going from household to household. So please excuse me if I'm not focusing on your class assignment.
Yeah, one of the things at the town hall that you last had that struck me is you had a couple of students say that they felt like their teachers have low expectations for them.
Because I just want to touch on the low expectation thing. So me, I'm a person that likes to go and study different models from different school systems. I don't really care if it's done in private, public, traditional, or public charter. So I went to Dowling. And one of the things that I observed from my encounter with Dowling is, number one, high expectations for students. Number two, discipline for students. This is something that we're not seeing in our inner city schools. And I think that's part of the problem, because when it comes to black students, you automatically set the bar low, like our students can't achieve. And I will beg to differ. When I come up in the classrooms, it's not that these students can't do it or that they're dumb. These students are very bright and intelligent. It's just they have to be able to connect with them in a way that makes sense. Like I remember there was a time when teachers were taught how to be able to observe people's learning behavior. Everybody doesn't learn the same. Some are more visual, some are more audio, and some are more, hands-on. So we have to get to a place where we're able to do that. Some people will arguably say, well, the class sizes are too big. I will push back on that and say, well, I don't think it's so much of the class sizes. I think what it is you have so many kids that are, either below grade level, some are above grade level, and then some are on grade level. And that's where the problem's at. And that's where the school district needs to take a look at. Why are you not catching this in elementary? Why are you waiting until middle school and then wait till high school to say, okay, well, they must have had a problem with it in middle school or elementary, and there was no intervention put in place to be able to help them? What happened to tutoring? Like, I don't even see an emphasis on tutoring anymore. I don't see an emphasis on summer school. What systems are these schools putting in place to make sure that these students are prepared and that they're getting on grade level? I went to a charter school, Horizon Science Academy, by the way, and I stepped in the classroom. It was a young black girl. She was in kindergarten. She came up to me and said, I like to read. I like to read Blue. We told her to go get the book, read us a page. She read 4 pages, and it was very fluent. This is kindergarten.
Hmm.
Mind you, kids are supposed to be able to be on grade level to read by third grade. She was fluently reading by kindergarten. On top of that, she knew math.
Mm.
So what are we doing? At the end of the day, what are we doing?
I've heard at your town hall before, I heard some school district person say that parents, some Black parents are disconnected. They don't answer when the school district calls if there's a problem, that these parents didn't like school themselves, and so they're just not into school. What needs to change on the other side as well?
Yeah, so I think a lot of that is twofold. I mean, obviously, you have some parents that are disconnected, but I feel like we put a minority group of parents like that's the majority of parents, and I don't think that that's true because I've did a lot of campaigning, a lot of surveying. I talked to parents in the lowest income area in Des Moines, which is the 50314, and a lot of these parents, it's not that they don't support kids, like they can't come to the games, like they don't care about their academics. They're working several jobs, low paying jobs at that, to be able to keep a roof over their kids' heads. So I mean, that's part of the reason. And some of them came to me like, hey RJ, I like what you're doing. You're going to the school board meetings, you're advocating for us, but I haven't been able to show up because I'm not off work yet, or I'm just now getting off work by the time the school board meeting is. So why can't the school board meeting make it more accessible for parents? Can they ever do an event or a forum on a weekend to be able to give parents a voice? And I think that's something that the school districts need to listen to be able to accommodate for parents, because every parent's not like that. And yes, you do have some parents that were in school and they were very disengaged with the process. And it's repeating itself. When I step up in the classrooms and I see certain stuff, I would understand why youth wouldn't want to be engaged in the school, because it's not engaging. Like I truly believe when it comes to teaching or when it comes to working with kids, you either have an expertise in it or you don't. I don't care what degree you got. I don't care how much schooling you went through. That doesn't mean that you're good at working with kids. Either you have it or you don't. It has to be in you, not on you. And I think that's part of the problem too. A lot of these people are not skilled. They might be nice people, but they are not skilled or equipped to working with inner city kids. And I don't really think some of these individuals like inner city kids. Just to be real.
What makes you say that?
By the interaction. The interaction that they have with some of the kids, they act like they're pests. You know what I mean? Like when let's just say a kid hasn't been coming to class, but for some reason now they want to show up. They're not even welcome. About time they get all these little slick little comments, or if a white kid does it, it's a different story. So they have their little favorites and different things like that. Even when it comes to suspensions, there's been situations where a white kid would do the exact same thing, but the black kid is the one getting thrown out. Or you will suspend this black kid for 5 days because you're tired of dealing with them. You don't want to be bothered with them. And instead of helping them, you want to punish them. Like there is a situation, I ain't going to name the school or whatever, but there is a particular situation where there was an assault between a young lady and another young lady, and the response from the principal essentially was to have the parent press criminal charges on the young lady, the young black sister, which I'm glad he did not, because even if he pressed charges on that young sister, that wasn't going to change the behavior. You can press charges on somebody and they'll come back to school and do the exact same thing. Nothing got done about that. Schools need a better job at being more restorative and creating better interventions. The intervention would have been to get to the root cause of why that student is acting like that, because obviously they have a history with violence. There's some form of trauma to where that student feels like they need to express themselves in an unhealthy manner like that. So that needs to be talked about. And the other issue is this too. You have community partners. If you have community partners, you need to utilize your community partners. The people that are experts and skilled in these different areas, you need to be able to utilize them. And I don't feel like that enough of that is going on. You have people that are not experts in dealing with that, just messing things up, and that's why nothing ever gets done.
What are your hopes for these students over the summer?
So obviously my fear is, it's a saying that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. I believe that to be true. I think we need to engage our youth throughout the summer and give them activities. We need to give them things to do. I even when it comes to jobs, like you say, there's a lot of organizations offering job training, but I'm not hearing anything about paying them for this job training and actually giving them an actual job. So I think some of that's a problem. And then giving them a job that actually pays. I think a lot of these companies, they'll hire youth and stuff like that, but they will underpay them. They'll pay them like $9, $10. And it's like, if I'm a 15 or 16-year-old person, I'm not going to want to work for that. That's trash. If I'm doing the same amount of work as an adult, you need to pay me the same amount of work as an adult, because when you're dealing with a kid that, that ain't never had too much because they come from poverty, it's more attractive for them to go do some illegal ways to get money because it's more than your $9 an hour.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, $9 an hour still stacks. And so, and we all got to start somewhere. So, I mean, that's something that, we all need to remember. You have to start somewhere. One of the things that I think you mentioned earlier, you talked about different types of schools. Tell me what you think about like charter schools or some other model other than the public schools.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this, and it's not necessarily popular, whatever the case may be. But I am an advocate for education reform, and I am an advocate for school choice. Not necessarily within the tenets and mindset of how others are thinking about school choice, but school choice in the sense of the parent should be able to make that decision. I don't think that the inner city school or any other school should tell the parent what's good for their kid, because you don't know. I'm not necessarily for one or the other when it comes to the system. I'm more so what's working. What's working, and whatever's working, we need to implement that. And if something's not working, then let's cross that out. Let's come up with a new intervention, and let's get that going. But one thing from my visiting to like the private schools, they have the discipline. They have the high expectations, zero tolerance for nonsense, and a bomb educational system. Good curriculum, good opportunities. And I've seen the same thing for some of the charter schools that I visit. We don't have a lot of them, obviously. And I think if we did, like some of the other bigger cities, more parents will be sending their kids there. So I'm going to be exploring creating a charter school for business, because I think a lot of the times when we're talking to kids, because we got to understand the history of education. With John D. Rockefeller and all of them, when they taught teachers, they were teaching the teachers to indoctrinate the teachers so they can indoctrinate kids. It was to teach children to be worker bees, to work in manufacturing factories, to make all these people filthy rich, essentially. It's not teaching you to be a critical thinker. It's not teaching you to be independent. Even colleges are saying that. Colleges are saying, why are you sending us all these kids? They don't have basic critical thinking skills, and they're not prepared. You don't give them homework in high school anymore. College is going to give them a whole bunch of high school. So I just don't feel like, a whole bunch of homework. I just really don't feel like they're being prepared for a lot of different stuff. So, I want to be able to teach them to be their own boss, teach them to be an entrepreneur. It's so much talent, so much gifts with our young people. There's no reason why we shouldn't offer that pathway, because there's pathways when it comes to college. There's pathways when it comes to trades. When are we going to have a pathway for entrepreneurship for our young people? We have a lot of people in college, and I'm not knocking college either. We have a lot of people going to college for business, getting business degrees, but not many business owners. I just think that's really interesting. And our young people are looking at that like that. And even in terms of our more at-risk youth, our at-risk youth that may get money in illegal manners, we coach them up and let them know, like, hey, listen, it's the same thing when you're in sales, when you have a product. You have a good product, supply and demand. You got a good product, people are going to continue coming to you like clockwork. So we try to take that formula that they know in the streets and apply that in a legitimate manner that's going to actually benefit them, so they don't have to take those penitentiary chances or those chances of having a premature death.
What else is happening within the realm of your work? Like, do you get enough community support?
You got to define what you mean by community support.
Define it.
Are you talking about on Facebook? Like, hey, we see you, bro, and liking it and maybe commenting.
All of it, showing up, monies, donations, people giving their time, thanks. However you define it.
So yeah, people's like, they say nice stuff. They'll share and different things like that. But to me, and I'm just going to be blunt, honest for people. To me, when the kind of support that I need, I don't need a cheerleader. I need soldiers. This type of work that we do, this is a tasky job that we do when it comes to uplifting our children and when it comes to uplifting our community. I'm one person. I'm cold though. I'm like Jordan on the Bulls. I'm coming and I'm crushing some stuff. But even with me being Jordan, I have to have a team. And the team that I have has to be just as cold as me too. That's the only way that we're going to win the championship. So that's the type of mentality we got to have as a culture and as a people. We have to be able to have teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. You know what I mean? So I need soldiers out here on the front lines with me. I can't have a person on the sideline saying, "Yeah, cheering me on." That's not helpful to me. You know, and even when it comes to donations, I understand people being burnt up when it comes to different people taking money and been done dirty. So I get that. But people need to understand when it comes to like supporting, like for example, supporting organizations such as you. You're spreading awareness for Black Iowans, lifting their voices up. Even if 100 people donated $5, $1, all of that adds up.
It does.
When we ask for donations, it doesn't have to be $100. It's whatever you can afford. If that's 50 cents, I mean, donate it. I mean, it's all going for a good cause. Because at the end of the day, you're going to want positive programs to support community. So if you want these different things, you should be willing to support. And I'm going to say that about Black businesses too, because it's Juneteenth is coming up. Last Juneteenth, y'all was trying to hit my pockets. And I don't mind supporting Black-owned businesses now. But at the same time, if you want to take money from community, put back into the community. Support your Black Iowa News. Support your local nonprofits and charities that are here fighting for your children, fighting for community people, standing up for your rights.
So what's coming up for greater opportunities?
So yes, I'm definitely raising money because you can't run programs without any money. You cannot run an organization without any money. It's impossible. So I want people to understand that. So please support. But outside of that,
before you go there, how can people donate? Like, what is the link? What is the handle? Like, how will we go about making donations? And are those are tax deductible donations?
They are.
So you send a receipt to them for their taxes.
So like if you go on our Facebook, Greater Opportunities Inc., there's a donate button on the Facebook, or you can go to our PayPal, which is Greater Opportunities Inc., or you can donate via Cash App, which is GO Outreach.
GO Outreach.
Yeah, GO Outreach on Cash App. GO represents Greater Opportunities. Also, go mode. Green means go. We're always on go mode when it comes to fighting for our community.
Nice. Awesome. So I'm sorry. So what else will you be thinking about this summer and for the fall? Are there things that you've seen this year working in the district, going to school board meetings, being aware politically that are fueling some changes that you want to make?
Absolutely. So yes, we want to continue to develop Black Pride, which is a program that we got, which is going to be able to positively impact students by teaching them their history, and not that history, that whitewash stuff with slavery. Our history predates that. We had universities in Timbuktu, we had them in Kemet, which they now call Egypt, and we contributed to all civilizations. We are the architects of chemistry, mathematics. That's another reason why I get upset when they try to talk about black students saying good in math. Our people created this. Africa is the cradle of civilization. Like, there's nothing negative about our culture, but we're going to actually add another P in Black Pride. So it's going to be Black Pride and Purpose, because we believe that we should take pride and dignity in our Black culture. But we also need to find purpose. I feel like young Black men and young Black women are all searching to find purpose. Some people are searching to find purpose in the streets. Some people are searching to find purpose in other means and methods, but we need them to find purpose in community within themselves. Knowledge of self. We believe knowledge of self is that route. So we're going to be developing that. We had some resistance with that because individuals, again, they want to say, what about this group? What about that group? Listen, every culture deserves to be able to create their own groups and programs when it comes to uplifting their culture. That's just what I feel. So we want to be able to push the Black Pride and Purpose. We want to be able to get them mentors for our young Black men, young Black women. We want to teach them positive Black history. We're going to be doing workshops. We want to travel with them too. You know, this summer we're actually putting money together because we want to travel with them. We want them to go to a Black museum so they can see the culture. So they can see these different things. I feel like we don't spend enough time sparking the creativity within our young people. Some of these young people haven't seen anything outside of their neighborhood, outside of their home, outside of their personal environment. And it's like you need to get them out of that and let them know there's more to life than what they're seeing. And even like we want to expose them to art too, because art exposes them to creativity. So we want to be able to expose them to as much as we possibly can. That includes entrepreneurship. That includes colleges. That includes businesses, just in case they want to work there, shadowing different people, and obviously the history and the culture, and letting individuals know that, yeah, you can have an afro, you can have locks, you can have, your hair like this, your lips. Take pride in who and what you are. There's nothing wrong with us. While we're over here with our head down about how we look with the afro, kinky hair, and all this other different stuff, somebody from another culture is trying to be you. Everybody wants to be us, our culture, our music, how we look, and all this other stuff. They want to be us, but they don't want the stuff that comes with the stuff. They don't want to struggle.
They want our rhythm, but they don't want our blues.
That part.
I think that's what the saying goes. But I love that. What else would you want people to know about this work that you're engaged in that we didn't talk about?
Okay, so before I get into work, I just want to touch on what you said about the legislator not wanting individuals to know about Black history or systemic issues about this country. The stance we take as a nonprofit, we will not allow that nonsense to affect the work that we're doing with youth and telling the truth. If we can't do it within the school system, we will do it outside of the school system, because there's nothing illegal about that at all. Sometimes there's more than one way to skin a cat. Also, me as a Black person, I understand that there's systemic issues within these systems. I don't trust individuals who have colonized this country and colonized our people to educate our children, period. So, that is something that we also need to pay attention to when it comes to positive Black history and promoting the positive images of some of the sisters that you talked about outside of these, chains and us getting whipped and water hose sprayed on us and being bit by dogs. That's something we have to do as a community to push back against those negative stereotypes and negative narratives, and show the resilience of our people. To let them know our people are strong. When you go up into this public school or whatever school system that you're in, you walk with your head up high. Know you are a king. Know that you are a queen. And we shouldn't accept anything less. We are going to be expanding within the Des Moines Metro. I know we work a lot with inner city kids. We will not stop that work. We also understand that there are Black kids, melanated kids that are in the suburbs that are in predominantly white schools, and they are not getting supported. And there's a notion that because they are in the suburbs that they are not at risk. And I think that that's not true. They are definitely at risk and they need support. So we're going to be reaching out and going to the suburbs and supporting them as well, because we're here to support students. We're here to support our youth. We're here to support families. We're not here to divide over zip codes and say because you're in the suburbs, you have it better than the kids in the inner cities. You may or you may not. I don't know. To one degree or the other, they have problems. A poster child, if they don't have the proper support systems put in play, that poster child can eventually go down a very dark path. So we want to be able to take the students that are falling through the cracks and grab their hands and lift them up. And the ones that then fell through the cracks, we want to be able to say, nah, brother, nah, young sister, let's get out of the darkness and let's come to the light. But you asked about any events. We are going to have an event June 30th at Evelyn K. Davis Park. We're going to essentially have a youth and family cookout. As we spoke about a lot of the students that I've been working with at the youth town halls, I think it's very important to celebrate them, celebrate the accomplishments that they have did within the last 2 school years. So we want to be able to have this cookout for them, let them invite their friends, let them invite their parents, because at the end of the day, it's about community. And that's what we're about. We're about bringing people together. So we want to be able to celebrate the students, but celebrate their families too, having some barbecue, playing some nice music. It's going to be 90s music, by the way. Okay. I'm a 90s baby, so it's going to be some R&B playing. So you're going to hear some Aaliyah, some Jagged Edge and some Drew Hill. So, be ready to have a good time. And we're also going to do 3-on-3s. We're going to do 3-on-3s for our young people too, because we want them to have fun. And, this event is going to be 90s theme. And the reason I'm saying 90s is because when I was a kid, and I believe this was alluded to at the town hall, where, what's the brother's name? John Campbell alluded to the panel. I haven't heard anybody on the panel say anything about having fun. And initially, when I was talking to some of my teammates about coming up with this event, we shared the same notion. Whatever happened to kids being kids and them having fun? I remember when we were kids, rock, paper, scissors, girls did the double dutch, the bag racing, and there were all different types of fun activities for kids to do. So we want to be able to bring that back. We want to do the face painting, water balloon fights, different things, depending on how hot it is. We want to be able to bring fun back into our community with our kids. Kids should be kids. They shouldn't have to be forced to becoming adults.
Okay, I love it. So, what should people do if they want to, number one, join your organization and be one of those soldiers you said you needed, people helping organize and working with your organization? How should they reach out?
Please reach out. I'm on social media. RJ Miller. My phone number is accessible on my Facebook page. I'm on Instagram. The real RJ Miller. And again, I'm very accessible. But just know if you join in our organization, you will be going through some form of a workshop to educate you on the legacy and history of greater opportunities. Because I don't believe anybody should join any organization without having a grounded understanding and study of what that organization embodies and what they're going to be expected from you. Because when we're out here doing this work, we love what we do. We love our people. We are committed to uplifting our people, and we are ultimately committed to uplifting children, not just children, because we want to support families too, and specifically elders. But this is the work that we're committed to do, and this is my grandmother's legacy, so it's very sacred to me, and this is the type of stuff she believed in. She stood up for community to be able to have resources to be able to pay their rent, resources to be able to take care of their kids. Resources for kids to have activities and for them to have things to do. So we want to continue that spirit, and we want to continue to be on go mode for our community. So I think it's very important. Like the African saying says, the child who is not embraced by the village will burn the village down to feel its warmth. And then there was a powerful documentary I watched too. It was called Cultural Wars with Our Youth, and there was a young man. He was studying the ants, and they took the larvae out of the hole, and all the ants came and rushed. And they asked the young man, "What do you notice?" They said, "They come and protect their babies. Who protects us?" That's something we have to keep in mind as a community. How are our children?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Inside Black Iowa podcast. And you can find this podcast on Substack, on Spotify, on YouTube. Thanks for joining in, and have a great day.